All right, hello everyone. We're back, Cash to Capital, with our third portfolio update. And what else you got?
So we're here to get you guys ready for this week, guys, in the market. This week, the week of the 10th, we're looking at a couple of things. The first thing, we looked at futures already for tomorrow, and futures are up because everybody's thinking that there's going to be an end to this government shutdown this week. That'll be really bullish for the market. So we could actually get some real core PCI data, get some CPI data, so that we can see if we can get that rate cut that everybody wants. I think also there was some news that Trump was throwing around the idea of a $2,000 stimulus check because of the tariffs. So there's a lot of bullish signs going into the market this week.
Yeah, that's true. He also announced a 50-year mortgage. So, people are, financing Chipotle burritos. Why not, finance a 50-year mortgage?
I didn't even see that. Proposing a 50-year mortgage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Wow, that'd be
That'll
something.
be interesting. Yeah.
Mortgage comes from the word muerto, which is dead.
Yeah, you might not
That's,
even make it to see
yeah,
the end of
might
that
might
sentence.
make it a death, right?
Yeah,
So now you want to start buying a house at 10 years old in order to keep
for
it to
real.
the
Yeah.
60. Wow, that's incredible because the housing market is pretty much
Yeah.
stagnant right now. He's trying to find any way to get things going. Wow.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna get into our portfolio. All right, yeah, so this is it. We're down a little bit from our last update, but still up a lot overall. And we're going to show you guys where that's coming from. Yeah, so starting off from my portfolio, up at 590, down a little bit from last week, but still up overall a lot. These past 2 weeks have been big weeks for earnings, so that's pretty much where that's coming from, and we're going to break that down, going from one stock to the next. So starting off with AMD. Yeah, so I said in the last portfolio update, I see AMD pulling back around like 240. It's at like 235 right now. And AMD reported earnings this week or last week when this video comes out. But they actually had a great quarter. They beat on all the major metrics. They raised guidance for Q4. But going into earnings, the price was so high after the deal with OpenAI, and expectations were so high that it's really hard for the stock price to go up after the earnings report just due to how high expectations were. But I also think this is a healthy pullback. I think in terms of the PE ratio, on a PE ratio price basis, the stock was pretty pricey before the earnings. So I think now it's back to a healthy level, and definitely looking something not be adding to over time.
Listen, listen, stocks up from $76 all the way to 267. I think AMD is one of these plays that if you get a 20% pullback, that's where you should back the truck up, beep, beep, and load up. Okay, this is a stock, and I don't mean Warren Buffett said it's very important that you are in a stock for at least 10 years. When we say buy this stock, we don't mean it as traders. We mean it as investors. Maddox buying the stock initially and the stock having a pullback, he's going to buy for a long period of time. That's the goal. Okay, the goal is to be in the stock long term. AMD is just one of these companies that just continue to perform. They always, most of the time, give guidance that's conservative. So that's why you're seeing the pullback. And all the stocks, the AI stocks, and what we call the hyperscaler stocks have been up so much that you have to take a. This is actually healthy. It's almost like if you think about it, like the stock market just doesn't go up. It just doesn't go up the whole time. It's like it's almost like think of it biologically. If you keep eating food, and you don't go to the bathroom, what's going to happen. Okay, the stock market got to cool off too. Okay, it just can't go up in a straight line. Okay, it'll go up, come back, go up, come back, go up like stairs. So think about it like that. But this is healthy. It's always healthy to have a pullback. These are good things. This is where actually the money's made on these pullbacks.
For sure. Yeah, these are always good buying opportunities. Yeah, corrections happen. They're healthy, and I hold a lot of AI stocks. My dad has some, Yeah, so that's why there's been red, and there's been fears of a AI bubble. So I think it's good that some of these stocks are actually selling off. But yeah, we can move on. Yeah, so next we got Google. Google reported earnings last week, and they had a great quarter. They beat all the major metrics, and they raised guidance for Q4. So yeah, the stock's up to like 280 right now. It was at all-time highs previously. I think it pulled back, but I think for the most part, like this is something I said, in the last few episodes. Like I think Google right now is just like super hard to disrupt. I know there's fears around like OpenAI and not disrupting Google. But even if you look at like Google's search business, which is the business that's supposed to be disrupted, I grew 14% quarter over quarter, which is 1% higher than analysts expected. So I think for it to be growing that much quarter over quarter, like Google search is still a fast growing business. It's like hard for something like that to be disrupted. So I think I'm definitely very bullish on Google long term. That'll be something I'll be continuing adding to.
Only thing I got to say about Google, the only thing that was holding Google back was that antitrust lawsuit. Now that they cleared through that, sky's the limit for this company. They are disrupting with YouTube, going to disrupt with Waymo, data center play, AI play. You could just buy Google and you'll be good. Honestly.
Yeah, they're also a real player in the cloud business. That's something I didn't mention, but the cloud revenue also came in higher than expectations. All right, next we got Lululemon. And funny enough, the story around the stock really hasn't changed much since the last portfolio update. It's cheap on a PE ratio basis. A lot of people think the stock has bottomed out, but it hasn't really done anything since the last portfolio update. We say we're caution behind, buying stocks because of P ratio because they could be, undervalued for a reason. But they do provide earnings next week, so I'll be looking at that. But yeah, really don't have too much of an update on this stock.
Lulu, real quick. I think Christmas coming up. I think Maddox will get his. I think once the stock has dropped much as Lululemon has, it has to find a bottom, and Lululemon sort of found a bottom at the 150, 160 level, and it keeps bouncing off that level and going back down to it. So I think once Lululemon finds that bottom, it'll start to round up and start to come up again, and it might be soon because of the holiday season. But in retail, I'm more of a TJX, TJ Maxx guy because TJ Maxx they get all of these clothes and they're not affected by tariffs. They'll get it from all the major retailers, and they're able to get it at a low price, and they're not affected by tariffs, and they just pass that savings on to the consumer. So I think TJX is just a monster in retail. Bro, you didn't do Lumen, kid. How you going to skip over Lumen?
I was gonna say that for last, but yeah, yeah. So we got Roku up to 102. They actually ran up a little bit higher to like 108, but they pulled back a little bit. But they also reported earnings last week. They had a great quarter. They posted operating profit for the first time in years. So that's a big reason why they ran up so much. But also raised guidance for Q4, and they're expanding their advertising revenue as well. So yeah, this is definitely something I'll be adding to.
You did it again, son, with Roku. You've been patient with it, and earnings just popped. I mean, like you said, it went all the way up to 116, 117, cooled off. Roku is one of these stocks that, with all these people on their platform, in terms of advertising dollars, they're going to be able to grow, substantially because they can just tap into the people they already have. Kudos to you for holding on to it and being patient with it. And it's a great lesson for you new investors. Patience. The market is about patience.
For sure. Yeah. And after the quarter, a lot of analysts are calling it a buy now. And I actually wouldn't be surprised if it ran back up to, the 120, 130 range.
Yep. I see it going past that level.
All right. So, but not least, Lumen, which is the newest stock added to my portfolio. So, Lumen is a telecommunications company, but they really diversified themselves by actually creating a lot of AI solutions. So when you think about, AI right now, AI needs data, and this data needs data centers, and these data centers need to be connected. Lumen provides solutions for every part of that process, but they're also a leader in, the fiber optic network, keeping these companies connected. Kate Johnson, the CEO, I really like her. And I'm like her mentality when it comes to, these telecommunications companies. It's really kind of a sleepy industry. The companies are trying to outlast each other. There's not really that much innovation going on. Lumen's in a position right now where they're actually trying to gain market share. They're trying to innovate so they could be the backbone, of the AI economy. So definitely like it going forward.
There's a lot of volume there. You see, over $21 million in volume. That was Friday. So a lot of people are liking the stock. I got to do some more research on it, but I trust your judgment and the fact that you did your research on it. And you're going with the jockey, so to say, and Kate Johnson. So I'll do my homework and give an update the next time.
For sure. Yeah, but that's it for my stocks. Next, we're looking at my dad's.
Go. So I'm still up. I have a total gain loss because I had an old stock. That stock max, and you can see I'm down in that 86%. So that's the only reason I'm down in that realm. But real quick, APLD is an AI stock. I'm holding on to that. That's one of my speculative plays. I'm going to just hold that because AI spend is not over. So this is one of the companies you're going to hear thrown around. So I'm just going to hold on to that. Next is Samsura. Samsura, like I said, is software. They just reported their first quarter in the black. So I think that they're a company that's well respected, a company that nobody really knows about yet, but they're out there. They're growing at double-digit growth revenue every year. So I kind of have them as a sleeper play. And go down, Maddox. I want to see when they report earnings. I think earnings are coming up pretty soon, December 4th. So I'm hoping. If you look now, go down. If you look at the last four earnings, keep going. If you look, keep going down, Maddox. They beat the last four quarters. Look at that. You see beat, 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 beat. Pause. Beat, 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 beat. Beat, 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 beat. Okay, that's not the road runner. Beep, beep. That's them beating last four quarters. That's what I look at. Is this company executing? I'm slamming the door on them. Look at that execution. Q3 2025, Q4 2025, Q1 2026, and Q2 2026 as the beat. So that's why I'm there. They're executing.
Sure.
Nokia. Bought Nokia right after. Nokia is a telecommunications play. They're big in 5G. They're going to be big in 6G. That's why Jensen Huang and NVIDIA invested $1 billion into this company. Okay, and that's all I needed to hear. Look at the volume up on Friday. 41 million, above average. All right, people are into this stock. Load up on it. Okay, this stock will double. Okay, in the next couple years. Okay, probably by end of 2026. That's my prediction for this stock. All right, and then on the bottom, please don't do Maxim. We're gonna do Nugget, which is gold. We know that we hope that there's gonna be a rate cut in December. Anytime you cut rates, you bring the value of the dollar down, which is good for gold. So I think gold's going to 5,000, guys. So I'm going to keep buying gold. And last but certainly not least is my my uranium and energy play, nuclear. If you go down, Maddox, I'll show you who's in those holdings. I don't have to tell you how much news and issues have come around rare earth and minerals and us with China. I mean, look at Oklo's in there. Cameco has been up. What up? PG&E, Duke Energy, all the big energy plays are in there. So I didn't want to just single out one stock. I figured I'd get a bag of those stocks, and I'm just going to keep adding to that. That's my portfolio update. A couple things I want to mention this week, guys. I want you guys to watch a couple stocks. First stock I want you to watch is Meta. Meta has got hammered after earnings. And Meta, with that getting hammered, it created a gap in the price. Now, what analysts and brokers say is that when a stock creates a gap, when it gaps down, in this case of Meta, the earnings weren't what people want, so the stock gapped down, so it created this gap and all this space up in here. So what analysts say, when you create a gap in a stock, 90%, and I'm going to say this again, 90% of gaps get filled.